Thanks for checking out this video on the ColourPop Wine Only eyeshadow palette, along with a few other products from the same collection. I'm super grateful for the request to cover this collection, especially from Jane, whose videos I love watching, which I'll link here and in the description box. If you're interested in more info about ColourPop as a brand, I'll link the video of that review here and in the description box. I'll do swatches and some eye looks with the palette. I'll also share how the blush I got looks, along with one of the lippie sticks. I'll see if I can find some similar red shimmers as well, as I personally don't find them very common. While ColourPop have been releasing a lot of collections, I think this is one of my favourite themes that I've seen from them lately. We do see shades of red across lots of makeup palettes, but I found this 9-pan colour story particularly interesting. I think the wine and only theme is kind of romantic. Not necessarily Valentine's wise, rather appreciating the finer things in life. I like the simple packaging design it comes in, and you can see it's cruelty-free there. And the main palette has a similar style to their 9-pan palettes. You'll see how the shades look here in the palette. It's not very warm and sunny in London. Some cool reflections in some of these shots. Here I've tried to capture some neutral reflections. I think it looks like a nice cohesive colour story. There's a few similar shades from the past, but I think they're complementary for this palette. Without further ado, here are the swatches. Those are the swatches. Here are some looks. For this first one, I did a completely matte look. That's the first look. You can see some plum tones in there, almost pinkish as well. Here's the second look. That's the second look, with this beautiful berry red shimmer with brown mauve tones. Here's the third look. using contrast shadows, one with a more warmer look and one going into a more purple look. Here's the fourth look. And that's the fourth look, a very warm, bright glow. I decided to do a comparison with just a few of the shimmery red shades in this palette to other shadows. I'd still say these shades are quite unique within my existing ColourPop collection. I really love these shades of red, so I did get some similar single eyeshadow shades from other brands. I also found some similar shades in newer palettes that I've got. So first I compared the Play to Wine Shimmer Red in the palette, which I'd say has a kind of a cherry tone to it, slightly cool or pink. The eyeshadow I swatched next to it is called Cinnabar Rose from the UK indie brand The Pastel Roses. It's a bit more of a rich red in comparison. The next shadow swatch is The Queen of Hearts by Sydney Grace. I'd say this is more similar, maybe a darker berry in tone. The next eyeshadow swatched is called Sentinel. It's part of a palette or an eyeshadow set called The Shifter's Realm by the indie brand Makeup with Rising Phoenix from Singapore. This shade is a little more darker and muted. There's another shade in the same set called Birthed in Flames, which is the next swatch. I think this is a better match than Sentinel. The finish may be slightly softer. The next shadow swatched is called Lorena. It's from the El Barrio palette from Terra Moon's Cosmetics, but I preferred to get this as a single eyeshadow. This one's a bit more of a pinkish raspberry tone in comparison. The next shadow swatched is also from the same palette. Again, I only wanted this as a single. It's called Bailar. I think this one's actually less similar, it's got more of an orange bronze tone. So those are the red shades I swatched in comparison. They're the most recent ones in my collection. I think Queen of Hearts by Sydney Grace and Birthed in Flames by Makeup with Rising Phoenix are the most similar. I think the others still make a decent dupe as long as you don't compare them side by side. The next set of comparisons I did was with the shade Caster Chateau. For me, it's like a lighter version of Play to Wine. It's got a peachy pink shift. The shadow swatched next to it is called Red Wine. Again, it's a single duochrome shadow from the Pastel Roses. I think this one's just a little brighter in tone. The next swatch is a single eyeshadow called Echo by Lethal Cosmetics. I didn't realise it was going to be so bright in comparison. I'd say this is more of a warm coral peachy pink. I thought I'd try comparing the Terra Moon's Bailar shade against this one. It turned out a bit darker with a warmer red tone as well. It can still be similar in the light though. I think the Shifter's Realm eyeshadow sets by Makeup with Rising Phoenix have very similar red shades. This one's called Shifter's Sanctuary. This one's also a warmer shade. It's actually more similar to Bailar. I feel like a mix between Red Wine and Bailar are the closest match. Shifter's Sanctuary is a little bit on the edge of being a dupe. So those are the comparisons. The blush I chose from this collection is called Brute Flute. This is ColourPop's Super Shock blush formula. It's described as a pearlized finish, so it's like a fine shimmer shadow. It's not sparkly. It's like a nice satin glow finish. Again, I think the packaging is really sweet and pretty. This is how it looks on my cheeks. I also got one of the lippie stick shades that was released as part of this collection. The shade is called Goldie. If you're not familiar with the lippie sticks, the formula is a creamy matte lipstick with moisturising ingredients like shea butter, vitamin E, avocado, that kind of stuff. And it doesn't contain parabens nor sulfates. This lipstick is also vegan, which is great. This shade Goldie is described as a deep brick red. I don't think it's such a warm brick red lipstick as some of the other lipsticks that I have. I found this to be a bit cooler in shade, like a mix between deep berry and burgundy red. This is how it looks on my lips. I still really like this deep shade. So those are the products I tried from the Wine and Only collection. On my final thoughts, I really like this concept as a deep red collection. I don't see so many palettes or collections similar to this. So I really like this ColourPop release. In terms of the palette, it's pretty pigmented as I expected, though I do notice the deep red maroon type of shades need a bit more effort to blend and build. The shimmers perform very well. Play to Wine is beautiful, it's my favourite shade. And I was pretty impressed by the grapeful shade, because it's not the typical brown in every palette. The sparkles in this matte is a little bit more special. I know red pigments are quite difficult to formulate, which is probably why I experienced that it didn't last as long as other ColourPop shadows, but I think it wore pretty well considering. I mean, it still lasts very well for the day, so it's still a really good quality palette in my opinion. The Brute Flute blush is really pretty. I think this is the first Super Shock blush I've actually reviewed. And I like the formula, it's very soft and blendable. I do think when you apply it to the cheeks, it does look a bit different to how it looks in the pan. I'm not very pale, but I do have a light complexion, so that could be why it looks different. It's described as a rose gold, but I think it's more of a cool deep red, though it's very soft with an extremely subtle glow. It's a really nice blush, I've used it a lot. The Lippie Stix shade Goldie is a really beautiful colour. It would last 4 hours. And I really like the Lippie Stix formula, it's very moisturising and creamy, which is ideal for my lips as they get really dry. As it's a deep dark shade on me, some smudging is noticeable, so I have to be a bit careful with contact. I've really been enjoying wearing the makeup though. These shades are a little bit different for me, which is really nice. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Are you into the deep red wines? Or maybe you prefer a different shade of red? If you have a favourite drink, let me know. It doesn't need to be alcoholic, of course. Comment below, and thanks for watching.